Hello people, welcome to Dry Camp. Over here just cleaning up the horse stall. We're going to use this manure to fertilize our plants and to conserve water. I found that by doing a thick composting or mulching of some kind, it really does work. It's all sand out here and we save about half our water. Since they're using water trucks around here to haul water to our tanks, our distribution tanks, and I see the water trucks going up the road every couple days, it's imperative to conserve our water. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to take this manure and put it around the base of our trees. And then when I do water, the sun won't evaporate it out of the ground. It'll act like a big sponge. How are y'all doing with that thing? Have you fallen prey to it? Have you acquiesced? Went and gotten that thing? Because your work makes you wear certain things on your face? I suggest elderberry syrup. Lots of it. We don't know. We just don't. The problem I have is that the same people that openly want to make humans farther and fewer between, because we're the scourge of the planet, right? Because we don't have the mental aptitude to turn this place into a Garden of Eden, a planet-wide Garden of Eden, where instead of having a sterile lawn, you have beautiful plants, attractive even to your neighbors, but are useful, productive plants. We can't do that. No. Look at the Silicon Valley, kind of where I grew up. The Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. How many trees does a city plant and maintain? In the center divide, along the sidewalk, probably millions of trees. Aside from the native ones, how many actually produce food for the homeless population? Or the taxpayers, for that matter? How much water do those trees require? How many times a year do you have to prune them? And rake the leaves and leaf blow the sidewalk? And just maintain those, just the trees. And ain't nobody getting one bite of fruit out of all that effort. And you think that's an accident? Well, I think as humans we do have the mental aptitude to provide for ourselves and to make this world a beautiful Garden of Eden. So that's what I've been doing the last few years. And I've been posting these videos to show you how I'm doing it from the beginning. So you can kind of see, maybe a couple years down the road, that it is possible. It takes a little bit of work. But ain't that what we're here for anyway? Work? All this manure in this wagon is carbon. If you get this carbon down into your soil, it makes things grow. It's that simple. Carbon is not the enemy, it's the building blocks of life. This gives plants their food. What I do is I put it on the surface of the sand, and the worms and the water bring that nutrients down slowly as it percolates into the sand, and they bring that carbon down into the root base. As the roots grow, they sequester that carbon and the trees get bigger. So all my trees, all the pomegranates, I planted more trees just on this little acre than I think most governments plant in their lifetime. I clone plants and plant them just for fun. And I give them to friends and family. And I plant them in my yard. So I'm taking a barren sand dune. The previous owner would just grade everything flat. And it would just sheet run. All the water would just sheet run off into the ditch below. And I'm adding little humps and dips and mounds and trenches and making it more wild, but taking this horse manure and other things like wood chips and creating a barrier between the sun and the sand. And you could do this on a micro level. You don't even have to do this on your own land. When we were young adults in our early 20s, my buddies, my girlfriend, we'd all run down to the local Orchard Supply at the time. We'd all chip in $5 when we get a little fruit tree or two. And then we go buy a 6-pack of beer, maybe a 6-pack each, right? We take our skateboards and we go out into the community along jogging paths, along Coyote Creek, along homeless encampments, and we'd plant fruit trees because the city refused to do so. It's like our own little apple seed movement. So do it. Make this place a Garden of Eden. Even if you're in a dry camp where you don't have very much water, find a way to make it work. I'm not going to sacrifice all the trees and plants that I've put the last couple of years into simply because we're low on water. I'm going to find other means, like using horse manure as a barrier, like a big sponge between the dry air and the dry soil. So if it gets saturated, it maintains that moisture and it fertilizes the plants. And if it gets dry out, the manure is going to act like a barrier between the sunshine and wind and the ground. And if you look at a forest, that's exactly how the forest operates. Hence, we call it a food forest. It takes a lot of work to generate a brand new forest, which is probably why there's big savannas and meadows all over the place, because if it was easy to build a forest, the whole world would be a forest. Little by little through time, you can build one up. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you have fun building your own forest.